Hello everyone, my name is Lucia Constantine and welcome to the show. Today, I finished listening to the audiobook of Robert Moore's 1990 book, King, Warrior, Magician, and Lover. This book is about Jungian psychology, more specifically, several types of archetypes that I found common in every man and woman in society. And he talks about two types of man called boy masculinity and man masculinity. The boy masculinity is inflated by the ego and is expressed by grandiose notions of himself, and the adult masculine archetype is met with creatures that have moved beyond the realm of boyishness and has transcended the aspects of the ego into a higher form of man. The author expresses several key types of archetypes, such as the drug dealer, who is the wife beater, the father who never attends the daughter's activities, the political animal, and the overall bad person. The next archetype is the naive child who learns too late the rules and cues and social intuitions of his fellow peers and believes everything he sees. After this is the divine child who is born from purity and is sacrificed for the greater good of humanity, such as Jesus, Sargon, Dionysus, several Muslim figures, and several Buddhist figures and Native American figures follow this parent as well. After this is the precocious child who learns the skills that are necessary for survival and for the expanding of his intellect at an early age compared to others. He is inquisitive, he wants to learn more, he wants to know why the sky is blue, why things burn the way they do, why things turn hot and cold, and why the world operates the way it does. In no specific order after this is the magician who knows all, who is a technological wizard and who is sought after for advice and is seeking wisdom into alchemy and magic and rituals and spirituality of all kinds. Then you have the trickster who, such as Merlin in English tales, who tricks people into their conniving ways and gets what they want, usually. Then you have the tyrant who is a perfectionist and who abuses their position as a leader into society and inevitably shoots himself into the foot. They exemplify the motif in philosophy with a quote that is expressed as power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The bipolar shadow or the precocious precocious child is carried over into adulthood and would manifest inappropriate infantilism to himself and his behavior. I'm looking through my notes for the divine child, and it says Jesus is a mystery. He comes from the magical world realm, both born from a virgin, the wise man from Persia, because he is God, he is almighty, at the same time he is helpless and powerless. He must protect he must be protected and spirited away into Egypt. This myth does not stand alone. The Christian myth is born out of the Zoroaster in Judaism, and it is told of Moses. Zoroaster is one of the first religions of the Middle East and of religion as a whole. It expresses notions such as justice and forgiveness and retribution and divine punishment. Like Dionysus, Jesus was born and sacrificed, and he was born of a virgin. Sargon is a similar myth to baby Buddha, Krishna, and Dionysus. And Robert Moore states that often too when a man feels better in therapy is to have children. I'm looking through my notes for the hero archetype, and I'm just passing through the know-it-all. The know-it-all is different from the precocious child, whereas the precocious child is satisfied with himself and his own gained wisdom. The know-it-all wants to humiliate others and is offended, and his ego is deflated when others prove him wrong, and he is offended when he is wrong, and he tries to humiliate others into believing that he is right all the time. Here in the hero section, it says the hero is only an advanced form of boy psychology, yet it is immature. The boy or man, under the power of the bully, intends to impress others. The hero is overly tied to the mother, and end quote. And moreover, in the next quote, it says, "What is the end of the hero? Almost universally in legend and in myth, he dies. He is transformed into a god and is transcended into heaven. The death of the hero is the death of boyhood and is the birth of manhood and psychology. The death of the hero and the birth of life, what the man really means, he has finally encountered his inflation. He has met the enemy, and the enemy is himself. He has met his own dark side, his very own unheroic side. He has fought the dragon and been burnt by it. It is the end of his own consciousness." After, after or around the hero, the author describes the story of Oedipus, who marries his mother and kills his father Laertes, who is punished by the gods for killing his father and must gouge out his eyes. This was expressed in Freud quite often as well. The final archetype expressed is, or is somewhat final, is the warrior archetype, which is the warrior does not think too much. He does not doubt, for doubt leads to hesitation, and he does not hesitate, for hesitate leads to losing the battle. The warrior is self-assured and lives for altruistic ends as compared to the hero who lives for his own self-gratification and pleasure. At the end of the book, the author talks about active imagination, where which is where we talk with the ego, understand the point of view, writing their opponents and ego side on paper. Some might encounter inner perspective, inner help, inner helpers. This is, and so what the author wants us to do is write down our feelings and talk to our inner ego and self in order to transform and move beyond the realm of boyishness. However, the consequence of doing this can result in overindulgence and could lead to hearing voices or or figures that are harmful to us. What one should do is contact a doctor and a therapist and seek help. The next tactic he utilizes is to find a quiet place or time, clear time that imagines or spoken words that appear in your head. Use your images in your vocations. Set back the image in front of you. In your imagination, make your ego your servant. Prayer was ritual accessing of the gods. So in mystical language, the author says that prayer was ritual accessing the gods and how we should let the ego become subservient to us. In Freudian psychology, the id is the id and ego is the suppressed inner reflective aspects of the self that is repressed and is used for bodily functions, whereas the superego, whereas the ego is the criticizing or moralizing agent, and the superego is 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 the boundary between both the superego and the ego, or the id. If you want to read more about Freud's work, you can do so on in your own. Some of his books include The Ego and the Id, the the ego and the id, the interpretation of dreams, civilization and its discontent, and another book that is called The Future of an Illusion. There are several aspects of psychology in figure form who represent collective unconscious aspects for themselves. The collective unconscious means the collective unconscious means a collective aspect of humankind that is representative of human nature throughout all literature, mythologies, religions, science, and people. They share a common situation and a common motif within them. Overall, this was a great book to read, and it was introduced to me by a subscriber, a person I subscribe to who does psychology videos, who I will link to down below if you're interested in more. And he does a better job at explaining than I do. And there are some other YouTubers who have discussed this book that I follow as well. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe and like the comment, share, and, and share it to other people that you know. Your support means a lot to me, and I appreciate all the subscribers and feedback I receive throughout this video. This has been Lucio Constantine, signing off. Bye.